10th, 2017, and revised by email on January 11th, 2017.
Thanks, Katie. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Coles?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Miller? Not here. Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Here.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Here.
Committeeman D'Elia?
Here. I'd ask everybody to rise for a salute to the flag and a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we humbly ask thy blessings upon this township committee and all those in authority, so that they may serve the people. Look down with mercy on our weaknesses and stretch forth your divine power to guide us. All this we ask in thy name. Amen.
Before you sit down, I'd like everybody just to remain standing for a moment of silence for remembering Detective Stephen McDonald, who passed away last week. He was an inspiration to me for much of my life, so thank you. All right, so we have a motion to approve the minutes for October 6th, 27th, 10th.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion for the executive session minutes for the same October 6th, 27th, November 10th.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, there's no public land sales or presentations. I had asked the committee earlier tonight to consider an ordinance to require parking in the downtown area for any buildings that try to go above the 2 stories that are actually there. Steve Seacare is going to start working on it, and hopefully we'll have it available for first reading either in February or in March reading.
It should be ready, Mayor.
Thank you, Steve. All right, at this point, we're going to open the meeting to the public. Anybody who'd like to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and please try to keep to the 4 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations, Mayor Coles. As he said before, it's very good to see you up in the mayor's chair again. I have just one question. Oh, sorry, Joyce Blay, editor/reporter, NJ News and Views, 311 Floral Way, Toms River, New Jersey, 08755. Would you like my social security number?
No, please no, I don't want responsibility for that.
Okay, I have a question with regard to one of the resolutions on the agenda. It calls for the appointment of Michael Gross of Giordano, Halloran, and Cesla, I hope I pronounced that right, as special township counsel. Does this have anything to do with litigation filed by Mr. Garzo recently?
No.
Okay, would you kindly explain what it's for?
We're hiring him to help us with the extension of Vine Street. I should say the completion of Vine Street.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
We are hiring him to help the township with the completion of Vine Street.
Oh,
We're
okay.
looking to try and make Vine Street another north-south artery in town.
Oh,
We
okay.
got some DEP issues. He's an expert with the DEP, and we're hoping that he'll be able to get some inroads and get those permits processed pretty quickly.
All righty, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Judith Shallett. I live at 1122A Argyle Circle, Lakewood, New Jersey. On New Jersey TV News, I heard an item that the state is offering money to New Jersey municipalities for the purpose of creating microelectric grids, which would be grids that could be detached from the main grid in the case of emergency. They described that there are 50 existing such grids in New Jersey now, and that one of them is in Princeton. They said that during Hurricane Sandy, Princeton University had the microgrid. That Princeton proper was completely out during Hurricane Sandy, but Princeton University continued as usual. The purpose of the grids was so that people could shelter in place during such emergencies, and although they didn't state it, I think we know that in New Hampshire an attempt was made by a foreign entity to enter their electric grid, which was not successful, and I guess we anticipate other attempts. Lakewood has a higher than average proportion of senior citizens, and Lakewood has a higher than average proportion of young children. I wonder if the board is looking into this as a good match for Lakewood's needs.
Sounds like a great idea. I haven't heard about it, but I'm going to ask the township manager to look into it.
Okay,
One
thank
thing
you.
that we have done, though, is in most of the senior villages in town, we have put in backup generators in all the clubhouses so that if there is an emergency or power failure, that folks have a place to go. They'll have heat, hopefully air conditioning, and all the basic necessities until the power can get back on. But that does sound like a good idea, something we could look into.
I appreciate the generators. I think that in a long-term emergency, this might be
Yeah,
something,
much better idea than a generator.
and they're offering funds, so.
Tom, do you
Thank
mind seeing if you could look into that, please? Anybody else?
Good evening. Hadassah Goodman, 1 Washington Avenue, Lakewood, New Jersey. It's my first time to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming out.
I have 3 points of concern to raise regarding the proposed mall in that Cedar Bridge Pine area. The first concern is about the traffic gridlock, which I'm sure you've heard of before. Pine Street is backed up. It's my major street next to my house. It's backed up in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Spruce Street is often used as an alternative, and just today it was backed up. This was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was backed up all the way to Mark Street. Cedar Bridge and Avenue of the States, the traffic is just impossible on the Avenue of the States. Making a left turn onto Cedar Bridge is almost impossible. There's no light there. So I understand that there have been suggestions made to install some traffic lights and that might ease in anticipation. But I'm wondering about the idea of putting in those lights first, making those traffic adjustments first to see if it can relieve at least what we are currently struggling with before we move into the new struggle that there will be. There were stop signs that were put on Pine and Martin Luther King. It didn't ease the gridlock. It just controlled it. So there are fewer possibilities of accidents. People are really respecting the stoplights, but the gridlock is still there. When we also want to consider the traffic, looking at other malls just in the New Jersey area, they are all bordering on major multi-lane access roads. For us, this proposal says that Pine Street, which is really a little 2-lane country road, is going to be the main entrance. That doesn't match up to what we might think of as good planning. Other malls are not in residential areas, and so we've moved to these places, to this lovely town, for country living, for a quiet area, pastoral setting. That will all be lost immediately. Another concern that I'd like to raise is an environmental concern. My understanding is that with major paved roadways, as the parking areas will be, there's concern for water pollution from the runoff there. So how do we deal with that when there is already concern with water pollution in that area? And what are we thinking about the car emissions? Hundreds and hundreds of parking spaces and cars coming and going, in addition to trucks delivering all kinds of products. How do we think about the replacement of trees? Trees are very special in Lakewood. The pine barrens, the other deciduous trees. Unfortunately, I heard somebody make a casual side comment and say, we might have to change the name of the town because we're losing our wood. And so how do we think about that? And my third concern is, what plans does the developer have for community facilities? Things like a gym or an indoor pool or park areas with fields and playgrounds, things that would serve the children and the adults in our community. How do we think about a developer repaying the goodwill of the community? How do we think about what real development is It's more than just stores and increased revenue. Real development contributes to the quality of life for the citizens of a community, and I hope we can think about that very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Michelle Rip, RYP, 2 Goldcrest Drive. Good evening.
Michelle, can you speak into the microphone?
Straight to the mic. Speak closer, yeah. Lean forward.
Lean forward. Okay, this is also about the Lakewood Shopping Mall proposed on Pine Street. The residents of Pine River Village vehemently oppose the construction of the proposed commercial shopping mall to be located opposite our entire development, directly across Pine Street. Following are some of the most unambiguous reasons, not necessarily in order of importance. Number 1, traffic. This was just mentioned, but Pine Street is already very congested. It can sometimes take 25 minutes to drive from New Hampshire to Route 9. It can take up to 15 minutes to make a left turn out of our own development. If there were a corporate park as originally planned, the township's own RFP wording indicates that there should have been a corporate park there. Cars would enter in the morning and leave in the evening, and there wouldn't be an ongoing deluge. This safety, in view of the fact that Pine River Village is right across the, excuse me, you want to finish for me? Yeah. Can you finish for me? Can you finish reading for me? Because I'm getting dizzy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you up
I'm
to?
sorry. Just start with
Okay.
safety again.
I'm just going to read what she prepared because she was getting a little dizzy. In view of the fact that Pine River Village is right across the street and Pine Street itself is heavily trafficked, it is certain that drivers trying to take a shortcut will drive straight through our development, particularly from Avenue of the States into Swan Goldcrest, which will give them access to Washington Avenue. By the way, this is not something that will happen. It's something that's happening already before this development is even happening. Any remedy to this will only be a small portion of what has to be done to ameliorate the traffic problem. Can one even imagine the amount of outside traffic we will have once there is a neighboring shopping center? Besides 15 to 16 driveways along Goldcrest with cars backing out, there are many people living in Pine River Village who don't drive and as walkers would like to safely be able to cross one of our main streets. Quality of life. All residents of Pine River Village uprooted themselves and moved at somewhat advanced ages to live out their golden years in a peaceful environment. If we had wanted to live in a commercial zone or on a main drag, there were other senior developments we could have moved to. But we chose a more quiet and serene location with the understanding that there would be minimal disturbance across the street. It simply is morally and ethically wrong for any business, operation, CEO, or developer to encroach and change the very nature of our neighborhood. If there indeed will be a commercial development in some form, then the very least that the developers can do is meet in good faith with representatives of Pine River Village and find ways to minimize the development drawbacks and build appropriate barriers for our community's streets so we do not have tragedy waiting in the wings. We strongly urge the Township Committee to intercede and obtain a stop work order and reevaluate the project immediately pursuant to your responsibilities and the oaths you have taken as officials designated to protect and ensure a safe and respectable quality of life for your constituents. That's from Mrs. Rick.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I prepared my own words. My name is Yaakov Applegrad, and I live in Pine River Village as well. And good evening to all of you. And I would also like to address the issue of the proposed shopping center. And Mrs. Ripp wrote very well. A little bit of what I'll say is a bit repetitive, but I truly feel that it is the obligation and the mandate of the Township Committee and the Planning Board to preserve and protect the quality of life of homeowners. Tomorrow we'll hear somebody else speak about preserving and protect. The developers of this property will show you everything with the rose-colored glasses. To begin with, the whole development is not necessary. It is not creating a benefit for anybody in the community. And don't allow the developers to pull the wool over your eyes with parking and traffic and with their studies. Any street that is currently perpendicular to Pine Street, and I'll just name some of them, whether it's Washington, Newberry, Albert, or Mark Drive, it is impossible to make a right turn, completely impossible to make a left turn. Sometimes cars are backed up 10 or 15 cars, and you just have to stand there and wait before any development comes in. More importantly, this proposed development is a spiritual nightmare to our way of life. There's a proposal here for 800 parking spaces. That's a lot of stores, a lot of places for children and grandchildren to hang out. I was in Seasons today, and just for my curiosity, I counted the parking spaces that are there. There were 72 parking spaces at Seasons. You're proposing a development more than 10 times the size of Seasons. For what? For who? In an area that can't handle it. It already can't handle what's already there. Supposedly, initially, when this land was conveyed to Cedar Bridge Development in the year 2000, there was supposed to be a corporate park. Office buildings is certainly not retail. It's much different than retail. By what authority did this body or did the planning board have to change the usage from a corporate park into retail without any hearing, without any notices to the homeowners, and something that will change the entire quality of life in the entire community? Thank you.
My name is Barry Hertz. I live in Pine River Village, 11 Hawk Way. I also happen to be on the board of the Pine River Village Homeowners Association. And before I start, I'd just like to point out that most of the people here are from Pine River. Please raise your hand if you're from Pine River. I also would like to mention that my Rav, my Rabbi Feivel Cohen, asked me to mention that as of the meeting of 2 weeks ago, he totally supports our efforts. He had a prior engagement, but he sent his wife to represent him. I don't want to be repetitious. I think the people before me spoke very, very well. I just want to give you an update of what happened since that meeting, since the planning board meeting, which happened, I believe, more than 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday. At that meeting, the developers approached me, I approached them, and we decided to make a meeting in my house the following day. 2 days later, I'm not sure. But we had that meeting, and at that meeting, the developers, two individuals from the developers came. Mr. Flanagan came also, and there was also a traffic expert also came. We expressed to them, it was an attempt to really try to work out our differences. I'm not here asking to stop the project. There are other factions in Pine River Village that do ask for that, not me or the factions that I represent. I'm just asking for it to be accommodative, to turn it into a win-win situation. Let the developer build what he wants to build with our understanding of what is it that he actually wants to build and our coming to terms with it and making impacts, etc. There are two issues that you've heard from before. The two issues, and I got to rush at this point, is the quality of life, the type of stores that are going to be there, and the traffic. Okay, we discussed it. We agreed right then at that meeting that in short order there will be a draft agreement between the developer and the homeowners association defining the type of stores. People had no idea what type of stores they're putting in. And when you don't have any idea, you right away think the nightmare scenario was that they're going to open up some, who knows what. So I said, let's do that. In addition, the traffic expert, put up a map, waved his hand, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it turns out, there was nothing definitive, nothing was in writing. Well, since that time, I've been told that the lawyer that's supposed to do the draft agreement is on vacation. When he came back, another member of the development team wasn't around. And by the way, it's a big bureaucracy. They don't know when it's going to get done. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born at night, but not last night. And I know when I'm played. I know when these people are not negotiating in good faith. And that's exactly what they're doing. The traffic report will not come out anytime early so we can inspect it. I imagine it will come out 2 days before the February 21st meeting. It's just not fair. You decided to turn this into, I don't know what happened from the industrial park to retail, and the retail went into a shopping center. Somebody created this Frankenstein. Somebody got to put Frankenstein back in the box. Have them negotiate with us in good faith. Thank you very much.
I'll reach out to them tomorrow.
I can't hear you.
I'll reach out to the developer tomorrow to find out why they haven't been in touch and when they can get together with you.
I would appreciate that. We would appreciate that very much.
Do me a favor, if you don't mind, can you leave your number with the clerk so I can...
Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Roll. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Shane D. Applegret. And I live at 23 Washington Avenue. I respect very much what Mr. Hertz says, but most of us are not in agreement with this. What happened here is we bought with the thought that there was going to be something very specific there. Most of us would not have bought if there was a shopping mall. I'm interested to know how all this happened secretly around us. And some people came over to me and said they even noticed little flags already going up where electric things are going to go. What happened here is we bought in good faith that this is going to be there. To come in and change the whole thing technically invalidates our picture of what our living quarters and our surroundings were going to be. This happened. This was not allowed to happen. I don't know who agreed to it. We live in a suburbia. No one has a shopping mall when you move to suburbia. I could have stayed in Brooklyn where I had a big house with a lot of stores around me. So I have to tell you that Mr. Hertz may meet with this, but many of us will really, really take very strong action. We are not happy with the fact that there is going to be a mall there. I have spoken to the big rabbis that are part of BMG. They are against it and not happy. Unfortunately, they have told me that they cannot come forth and speak publicly because of certain rules and barriers they have. And they have asked me to speak for them. A shopping mall does not belong in a suburban area. Whoever created it did it behind our backs in the most crooked fashion that I've ever seen. And whoever approved it, and please, whether it was the board, whether it was the towning committee, it was illegal, it was immoral, and it was unethical. And I have standing behind me all the big rabbis, I have standing behind me most of the people, and I don't know who's having meetings, but I will do everything in my power to fight this and to make sure I cannot have something rammed down my throat because I have big developers that have a lot of money. My friend said it very well. You don't take money along with you in the casket when you put into the ground. Thank you very much. It's It's not going to happen.
Wow. Tom Gaddy, Enclave. I want to say that I support you all in Pine River because we're going through the same thing on Cross Street and Route 9. So many things have happened that we don't know about and all of a sudden spring up. So again, we empathize with your plight, and if there's anything we can do to help you, we'd be happy to do that. Okay, I'm sure you all realize the questions that I've got. We decided at the last meeting when you had your appointments that the composition of the audience really wasn't such that I wanted to get into any of these things, but I'm really curious. Over the last month, I've been bombarded with questions and bombarded with accusations that I've assured people that I will in fact ask these questions for them. And it goes to the mayor, how the mayor was appointed and why the mayor was appointed. And an article that was sent to me about 36 times from Rabbi Shekelinsky, Shecky, I think he's called. I want to go back to about a month ago when now Committeeman D'Elia and Committeeman Ackerman asked us to set up a meeting for them because they wanted to know how much support they did or didn't have at the Enclave and the Fairways, and there were a couple of hundred people. And I think that Committeeman D'Elia walked out with the idea that there was a tremendous amount of support for him and for Committeeman Ackerman. It just, based on this article and reading this article, I guess if both Mike and Ray wanted to be mayor, both wanted to be mayor, what was the difference between the two? And is it true that Mike D'Elia was called into a meeting with this Rabbi Shekelinsky and told that he wasn't going to be the mayor and you were going to be the mayor, and then that there was something in the article about Menashe Miller, and I don't want to speak about him because he's not here, but I just want to put this on the record, that he's a VOD man before he was a Republican. And the fact that two staunch Republicans voted for a Democrat has really created a tremendous stir amongst the people that have asked me to pose these questions. And one of the things that and again, this is opinion, and I have no way of validating the article or what was said, but people really wanted me to ask, who really is running the town, the committeeman or the VOD? And honestly, I don't have an answer, and I pose it to you guys. There were so many things that happened that seemed to be not quite right. I mean, we had spoken to Mike D'Elia when he accepted the fact that he was going to be the mayor at the Republican Club with a couple of candidates, one for the planning board, one for the zoning board, and those ideas just went out the window. And the fact that I know Mike had campaigned to try to find out how much support he had, and he had a tremendous amount of support. So I guess my question is, what happened at that meeting with Rabbi Shekelinsky that Mike decided he didn't want to be the mayor, you decided you did want to be the mayor, two Republicans voted for Democrats? The overwhelming question that I get is who is running the town, whether it is the committeeman or the VOD. I got a lot of questions, but I'm going to keep asking them until I get some answers. And I'll defer. Does anybody want to say anything?
Tom, I'll tell you the exact same thing that I told you and everybody else who's asked me.
Okay.
Mike D'Elia called me up, said that he had thought about it, decided that he was not going to be the mayor this year.
Right.
He can answer for his reasons.
Okay.
He said to me he thought I would do a good job. He knew that I had support with a lot of people. I told Mike the only way I would do it is if two of the three Republicans voted for me. I said, I'm not going to do this with me, mayor, and one person doing it. If a majority of the majority support me, I'll take the job. And that's exactly what I did. I did not go to any meeting with Rabbi Shekelinsky, the VOD, or anybody else to discuss this.
Okay.
I told you personally that
No, I know you did.
2 or 3 weeks before the election, that I sat down with Rabbi Kotler because I brought to him my concerns about development. A lot of the same concerns that people in this room have been bringing to me, to tell him that I think we needed to do a little bit of work on it because our message wasn't getting out, and I think we needed to look at a different way of doing things. We didn't talk about being mayor at that meeting. Okay? I do know that I have a lot of friends on the VOD. I've been here for 15 years. I've been told several times over the last couple of years that they would like to see me be mayor again. So if they supported me to be mayor, I'm very happy for the support. Same way I'm happy for the support of a lot of people who've come up to me from all over the town and said that it was good to see me back here and that they were happy and they think that I'll do a good job. As to who runs the town, the 5 people up here run the town. We listen to everybody. When people who ask us things get what they want, they're happy with us. When they don't, they're upset with us. But it's our job to make those decisions the right way. I've said many times that anybody can ask me for anything.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's my responsibility and my job to do the right thing with that request.
All right, I'm asking you to appoint those 2 guys that we brought forward on the planning board and the zoning board that are infinitely qualified to be on either board.
I spoke to Rob Robinson, and I was
Right.
hoping that I would be able to appoint him. But to be truthful with you, there were a couple of emails that he sent out, one attacking Rabbi Schenke, and one about, I think it was the BMG library. Perfectly okay to have those opinions, but one of the conversation I had with him, I've never met the man, so he could be sitting here, and I don't know.
No, he's not.
Was that I'm looking for somebody who I can work with to build bridges in town. I don't want rock throwers. I don't want people who just want to be heard to get their point across, but not work to get it done. And to be truthful with you, seeing those 2 things, as valid as his concerns are, it's not somebody that I feel like I can work with to try and make the kind of changes I envision for the town.
But, you know, let me, if I can continue, and this...
I really can't, the 4 minutes are up. I'll give you one more question since I took up some time.
Okay, I want to make a statement. You were submitted to be on the Oversight Committee,
That's right.
and yet you were turned down. And you were a bridge builder, and you were someone who wanted to unite the town, but you were turned down. Do you even know why you were turned down?
No, same reason I don't know why you were turned down.
Exactly. So the idea of people's opinions really are not necessarily going to play a big role in decisions that are made here. And that's, I mean, I know Rob personally. I know Rob to be a really smart guy. He was on the zoning board. He was a town manager. He worked for the Whitman administration. And I think he's probably infinitely more qualified than some of the people that are on there. And you know what? To have everybody that's going to go in the same direction isn't the way you really want to run a board or a business. You want people that have a varying degree of opinions and the way they look at an issue. So again, I would ask you to reconsider. And as far as Dr. Al Longo, he's probably one of the brightest men I've ever met to be placed on the planning board. He's got his PhD in educational law. He cares about the kids. He's currently teaching now at a college. You know, for this guy not to be appointed, you know, how much better candidate could you possibly have than him?
I haven't met him. I don't know much about him other than the one time he came to the microphone here. And again, what I said to you is you may have gotten a promise about 2 appointments. It didn't come to me, or as far as I know, the rest of the committee. So we'll look. I'll have no problem sitting down and talking to either man. I never close my mind to someone, so I'll keep an open mind as best
All
I
right.
can tell you. Yeah, of course.
First of all, it was my decision after discussing with my wife, children, and some very good friends. I felt at this time it was not in the best interest for me to take mayor.
Please don't call out.
Well, for one thing, I felt it should be a younger person. Now, to the second thing that you had said, and I had heard this from some people, that Committeeman Miller made the statement that he was a pod person first. Committeeman Miller has never, ever uttered a statement like that to me or to anybody else that I heard of. I don't know where that came from. It's bogus. I call it something else, but there's ladies present. It was never, ever said. Those that cried out, why? I think I gave you enough. And let's leave the rest of that.
Mike, you know how I feel about you.
Tom, please. After the meeting, we'll be happy to sit with you, but
Tom, I will talk to you. You said you weren't talking to me after the
I'm not,
board, so that's fine, whatever you want, but I'm still open for discussion and to work with anybody.
I'm not buying that you made that decision overnight.
Okay.
Ira Rosenthal, Lakewood, New Jersey. I read an article, actually on the Lakewood Scoop, but it was a tragedy. A critical person was injured Friday night. on Route 9 near the presidential estates, closer to where I live on Chestnut Street. And Mr. Lichtenstein took that unfortunate situation and spun the situation to say it's Route 9, it's the state of New Jersey that has to get their act together, and the safety of our people is in the hands of the state. I don't believe that's true. I hate to say it. We have a lot of things in the township that have to be cleaned up from a safety perspective. Look at what's going on Route 9, okay? You want to blame the state for all the problems and delusion to people that it's all the state and it's all Route 9, and until Route 9 is finished, until Route 9 gets cleaned up, until they widen Route 9, our hands are tied, we can't do anything. Okay, good. Now, what just happened? A few weeks ago, 2 massive streets right near where this accident happened are opening up. There are going to be thousands of cars flooding onto Route 9. Now, the township, not the state, was the one who made the variance to allow 500 homes to be built right there. Now, they knew that there's going to be 2 massive streets that are going to open up into Route 9. 500 homes is 1,000 families. That's 2,000 cars, at least, that's going to be pouring out onto Route 9 on a daily basis. When Route 9 is choking, there's no room anymore. It's dangerous. It's a terrible, dangerous situation. Then we open up a mall right there. And Evergreen, which is the main shopping center there, supercenter, wasn't even opened yet. So how are we, the township, actually acting responsible and allowing all this to go on, and then at the same time blame the state? It's the state's problem. It's the county's problem. We have our roads are reckless. Our roads are terrible. The planning in this town is reckless. How are we able to tell our children that we care about your safety? Honestly, answer me. Somebody up here, answer me. I want to know. We're building and building and building, and I understand. We should build. But till what point is life valuable? Here's a man on a Friday night. Friday night, there's almost no traffic. And God forbid, look what happened to him. Can't we wake up and take it as a wake-up call? It's time for the safety of Lakewood. People have to live in peace. Why should they be scared to drive down the street? Safety is a very important thing. And why are we neglecting people's safety? Why? I'm asking. The question is open to anybody. Please grab a mic and tell me. What are you doing to help the safety of Lakewood? Let's not stop and say Route 9, county line, county road, state, widen the 9, 2017, 2018, 2020. Stop. What are you doing? You're putting people in danger every single day. Answer me, please. I ask you, grab a mic and give me an answer.
You want an answer?
Absolutely, I want an answer. I absolutely want an answer. Everybody is wanting an answer. I'm sorry?
If you keep talking, I'll stop. So
I'm done.
you're done. Sure? Absolutely, you're done. Okay. So, first of all, I take a lot of offense to the fact that you say I took an unfortunate accident and spun. I think you were just doing that. No, I didn't try to do that. Somebody called me and asked me, a reporter called me and asked me that, and I actually said, I have some feelings about Route 9. I don't know if we should say that because maybe somebody's going to think that we're doing something negative and only blaming the state. So I take a lot of offense to that. I think that this committee, I've personally been involved, and I think Isaac could probably testify to it because I've been with them on many, many of these meetings. I've been working with the state and with the county on Route 9. Those are county roads and state roads. On our own roads, we have infrastructure programs in place. We have traffic lights that are coming in. We have stop signs. We have road repaving, street lights, sidewalks. Those are all things that we're doing for the safety. And don't lecture me about people lying on the street. I've been picking them off the street for 25 years, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like because I have worked on many of those people myself. So don't tell me that I use something like that for some political spin, because that's not how I lie.
I'm not looking to...
I thought you were finished.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Hobday, 30 Schoolhouse Lane. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Township Committeemen, professionals. It is becoming accustomed to scold people. Our form of government has served this nation so well for so long that it's high time that we start saying we have to have self-respect and mutual respect between us. They who govern are in a very difficult situation. You can't always make the choices that you wish to make. But you knew that when you took on the mantle of governors. Not the governor, but the government body of this community. So, with respect for all, malice toward none, the governing body, we all have to learn to be fair and reasonable. Gather the facts as we know them. Try to vet those facts to make sure that they're really facts. And as for the issues leading up to the mayor, Shanky or no member of the BOD voted for mayor. It was only the township committee that voted for mayor. And therefore, among yourselves, you decided who that mayor was going to be. I didn't get the vote. Nobody else here got the vote but you folks. And you made a decision. But you're the governing body that we asked to serve us. I can't make that decision. Nobody else can make that decision. This body has to make that decision. I, for one, will work with the mayor, as I do with all the members of the Township Committee. But that's based on mutual respect. Without mutual respect, there builds a distrust or an occasion not to be so open and forthright. So what I want to basically say is I wish that the dialogue was a little less acid. To bring it down, thank you very much for the things that you do. You're going to make mistakes. Every human does. I do want to talk to you just a little bit about the planning board. They still don't seem to get it. They are accepting applications that are not filled. They're not finished. It's an incomplete application, and they're dealing with it. It's unfair to them. The engineering department has to stop those things before they go to the planning board, because if you get a plan that doesn't show where parking is, where lines are, where buildings are going to be, and you have to guess, and they say, well, approve the plan, and we'll come back, we'll draw all that in. But if it's approved, they never come back. They have no idea whether that was fulfilled. I'm asking this body, please, get in, look at that planning board. At least the zoning board, I'm not sure I'm through with everything that they're doing, but they at least have a new set of rules by which they're going to govern themselves. Planning board has declined to do that. I'm looking to you folks to make sure that this stuff stops. An incomplete application should never go to a board. It wastes their time, it wastes attorney's time, it wastes the applicant's time, and it wastes the time of all those people in opposition. Thank you very much for your time.
You're 100% right, Bill. The planning board is working on that. There's going to be a whole new checklist. Architectural renderings are going to be required. They're going to do things a little bit different. I don't have all the final plans in yet, but they're going to do the old tech meetings again where the engineers will get together to make sure that the applications are complete before they hit the planning board, just for that very reason, so they do have a complete set of plans and all the information they need to base their decisions on. So,
From your lips to God's ears.
from my lips to the attorney's ears to get it done.
Bill, the mayor has been working on that, and he's been working hard on it even before he became mayor.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike McLaughlin, 11 Eldorado Drive, Lakewood. Part of what I was going to talk about, you answered, so I'm not going to go over that. It had to do with things that going with the planning board. But I will state this. Been in town now 3 years, 2 years of which I'd spent going to meetings, planning board meetings, zoning board meetings. As you know, with the hopes of some appointments, but that didn't come to pass. I noticed what many of my compatriots have said, that things are getting approved that really are incomplete. But what bothers me even more is that I digress a moment here, and I tell you that I read an article from the Asbury Park Press, a two-part article. It talked about a town that allowed this kind of situation to develop and to fester, the town Ramapo. If you haven't read the article, read it, because that's where we're going. That's where we're heading. If we don't take control of the unbridled building that's going on in this town, control it to the point that we are making it safe for citizens to live. We've heard in the last year that I've been coming to these meetings, I've heard people, not only tonight, but in the past where they've come and said, please help us, please stop the unbridled building. You said you listened to us. I don't see anything happening. You may be listening to us, and I see heads nodding. So I ask you, it's the beginning of a new year. What's going to be different this year? How are you going to come to the aid of Lakewood and make it a better town for all of us to live? Please, tell me what you plan on doing. I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear from here.
Sometimes when you walk away, you don't want an answer.
No, I can hear from here.
The part I meant about some of the rules and regulations of the planning board is a small part. I've been meeting with both the attorneys for the planning board and the zoning board, basically to let them know that it's about time that the people in the audience have as much say in what goes on as the people who testify in the front. And the word is getting through. There's new checklists being put in place so that different things that may not have been considered for development in the past have been. I'm hoping that the planning board will have it ready sometime this month. I don't have a final product, so I don't want to say everything that's going to be in it in case I miss something or misstate something. But the word has gotten through. I mean, Isaac, as our liaison to the planning board, is going to make sure that, you know, the people who are out in the audience are heard, and the board members too. I think it's a good thing that so many people are coming out to let their voice be known. I think it's a good thing that a lot of people from the Orthodox community are here tonight and at the planning board meetings, letting people know what they think. Because the people who sit up on the board, like Bill said, we make mistakes, they make mistakes, but at the end of the day, they have to live with their consciences. And if they hear from the people in the audience what's going on, I think that'll go a long way towards informing their votes. So I'm confident that you're going to see a lot of the positive changes that you've been looking for on both those boards. I'm really hoping that it does turn out to be a lot better than it has been. Okay?
We'll be watching.
I hope so. Sorry.
Good evening. Good evening. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to first mention Mr. Ira Rosenthal. He spoke very well, and I actually support every word he said. I live in Chestnut just like Mr. Rosenthal does, and he's a prominent member of the community, and he really cares about Chestnut. I emailed each and every one of you a petition from the Chestnut people. Over 40 people signed from the entire Chestnut. It's not from the shul, it's the general public. We really want to keep Chestnut a quiet and single-family area, just like it is right now. And for safety and also for the lifestyle, that's why we moved there, and that's the way we want to keep it. So I'll be grateful if it's possible for any one of you to continue. Actually, the mayor, you helped us out on that, and I appreciate that. If we could continue keeping it, you know, that way. I know there are different areas in Lakewood. Maybe some area people don't mind to live on top of each other. So that's fine in their areas, but we would like to keep our area the way it is. I wanted to mention one more thing with the zoning board. We get the feel from the zoning board, we hear a lot that they say that the master plan that should have been approved, or in the future master plan, certain areas are going to be changed or should have been changed, and therefore they're going ahead and already doing, they're approving things based on the fact that it should be that way, even though it never has been voted on by the elected officials, who are you. So if there's any way you can convey a message to the zoning board that until the future master plan is approved, they should actually follow the previous master plan, and once the new one is approved, okay, that's something else. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Judah Bergman, 105 Pine Street, Henry Street. I'd like to talk about the Lakewood Shopping Village that's being built. My first point is about the traffic. Everyone knows about the traffic on Pine Street. It's insane already. You can drive there, it's backed up all the way. They say, oh, we're going to take care of the traffic, we're going to put a light, we're going to do this. That might help for the current situation, as a lot of people are saying. We think maybe that would help for the current situation, but we don't even know that. So they want to build another 1,000 car parking lot, right, shopping center with cars going in and out constantly, and they think that one traffic light is going to be enough. How about, they waited about 20 years, 17 years about, to build this, to start developing. They could wait a little longer. Why don't we wait till we put the traffic light in, wait till you make the necessary infrastructure improvements. You waited 17 years already. You can just want to plow through the entire approval process against everyone's will. It doesn't make sense. Wait till you get the infrastructure improvements, and then we could start talking. My second point is on this project is that this land was given from the township to Cedar Bridge LLC on behalf of the taxpayers in order to build up the Lakewood the right way. But you see tonight how many people came out. We're all opposed. There's a ton of people here opposed, and there's a ton of people at home and on the video all watching, and they're all opposed to this project. So if this is a project that's meant to benefit the taxpayers, then why are all the taxpayers here opposing it? This doesn't make sense. Separate point, unrelated, is that at a lot of the planning board meetings, we see that the applications, people come to the meeting to oppose or discuss whether the application makes sense, and then all the applications are carried. The other day, there was 10 applications or so that were carried, so you ended up with like 5 applicants in the end. It doesn't make sense. People are spending their time, they're coming down here, and every time they're just carrying. They push it off, and now so you make a new rule that you have to create a notice, or whatever you call it, but it costs a few $100s. It doesn't make sense. People are spending time. They might even bring a lawyer down here. It can cost them a lot of money and a lot of time. If they're going to push it off more than once or twice, they should have to reapply. It should be a penalty. It doesn't make sense people coming down for no reason.
That's exactly what we're trying to get them to do.
You're going to make an actual penalty, or just a few $100s and make them send?
They have to start the process over again. You can't deny them an adjournment for any reason, for no reason. So we can allow one adjournment, but after that, they're going to have to start the process over. I'm tired of it too. I'm tired of people spending their nights in the audience, especially laying out money for lawyers. It's not right, and I don't want to see it continue.
And the last thing we see is, it was mentioned that there's a new HR position being created for the township. We never had this position. Not sure why it's being created. It was rumors that it was being created for a family member of an employee in the township. I don't know if this is true, but I think the taxpayers would hope that that's not true. Thank you.
Jerry Baldwin's Lot 3.208, Block 104. I notice in the agenda, many of places that list locations are listed just by that and not by the full correct address. Many years ago, a former Lakewood resident had come up to the podium and did the same thing as I just did. And he had asked for greater transparency, that for applications before a zoning board, planning board, that the full address be given and not just the lot and block number. I noticed that a while ago, a group came with suggestions that this be stopped and that a full address be given. So I would hope that, for transparency's sakes, that this as a policy would be considered and adopted, that whenever there's a lot and block number, that the address is also given so that people really know where this property is located. Secondly, thinking about...
Jerry, that'll get done, I promise you. Katie?
Okay.
I apologize. I thought it was being done. I apologize.
No, it is. I mean, you could just check through here, and it's not consistent. The second thing is that plan endorsement. It's almost been a year that the township received provisional plan endorsement approval. One of the big things that was to be done was the creation of an ordinance for the contiguous cluster zone ordinance. where is that in status of being adopted and created? And is Lakewood still in the provisional approval of plan endorsement, or has that changed? And again, that answer, or whatever is happening, has a big impact on maybe what kind of future building is to occur in Lakewood, because that deals with open space, and, we see that open space is dwindling away. The third thing is, with the article on Take Back Lakewood, there was an error, I believe. They were saying about the 240 acres in Cedar Bridge that it was sold for $10. I believe that was wrong. The $10 actually referred to the 34 acres of land that went for Pine River Village, and not the $10 for all of the 240 acres. And so then that brings me to the fact that also on Take Back Lakewood, they had a reference to the DeFalco Shane lawsuit against Cedar Bridge. Does that have any impact about what could or couldn't be developed now at what was supposed to be the corporate park? I think it's very important that we have a strong economic tax base over there in the corporate park. I think now back to the townhouses or the duplexes that are being built by the Quick Check over by New Hampshire and Cedar Bridge. That originally was industrial land. It then was supposed to become a shopping center. That dwindled. And now we have duplexes, a large residential zone. So here was an area that was meant for a tax base. It got lost, residential was built. I would hope that at the corporate park or at Cedar Bridge, that it does not ever become residential, and that if the shopping center concept is really full of a lot of problems, that something like the corporate park, or maybe more open space, recreational, could be put in that area. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Hi, good evening, Sandy Shore, Lakewood, New Jersey. I just want to mention one point about the shopping mall. I see that the opposition is mostly presented by the Pine River Village community. I just want to mention the areas around there are many, many young communities around there, and they're not present here tonight, all busy with young families. But there is strong opposition amongst many of the small roads that all come out of Pine Street, Mark, Forest Park, Ashley, Melville, Arlington, Lincoln, all the areas around there that are currently suffering from so much traffic. In speaking to a lot of people there, most of them just say, I don't have time to come down, and they trust the committeemen to run the town. They don't believe that their presence necessarily here makes a difference. They trust you, elected officials, to do what is responsible for the town, and a mall in a residential area doesn't make sense, and they don't even believe they need to be here because it's, so obvious. So I just want to mention here that the opposition is not only to speak with whoever we're here to make private meetings with them. There are many, many, many people who are just not in an organized community, just streets all off that area, that do oppose this mall as well.
Maria Resnick, Sandstown. I came here a month ago to complain about the sidewalks being ripped up on Vine Street. By Tuesday the next week, they were put back in. So I'd like to thank whoever was responsible for that. And another thing about Vine Street is that at the end of the year, it's supposed to be paved according to what they said last month. And it's going to be a nice wide street. You're going to come down, and all of a sudden you're going to hit Oak Street, and you're going to get into a choke point. Someone approved 5 houses built right on the road without a shoulder. And if you don't think the road needs a shoulder, you never have gone down there. Well, cars have stopped, and it's a disaster. On the other side of Vine Street, they just built 3 schools, and it didn't occur to anyone to go and tell the schools to move their curb back 10 feet and make a shoulder. And you need the shoulder on Vine Street. On the other side, across the street from the schools, you're building another 100 and something houses, I don't know how many, and they put the sidewalks right on the street. There is no shoulder. Nobody thought of a shoulder. You have this main street without a shoulder, and you need a shoulder. It is a disaster. I drive there every day, and I can tell you that's a disaster. The Second thing is that I was by the thing that they were talking about public parks, the meeting that they had about public parks, and they mentioned something about trying to put pocket parks in different neighborhoods. On Princeton Avenue and 4th Street, there is a community center. From what I understand, the community center is moving to Vine Street, and the community center is going to turn into commercial. Next to the community center is a basketball court and a playground. What is happening to that basketball court and playground, because it is a pocket park? Are you just turning it to commercial, or are you actually keeping it?
If that plan goes through,
Yeah.
the whole community center would be moved over by Vine, by the Patrick Sports Complex.
Okay, but what about
So that area will then become, I don't know if it's going to be building there, but the whole area is supposed to become into a parking lot for the whole development in the area.
Okay, but you're going to move, if you move the playground there, the people who live there who are not walking all the way to Vine Street to use the playground. They're not walking there all the way to Vine Street to use the basketball court. You're going to say, okay, so let's now walk to a parking lot and play basketball in the parking lot, and other things. That's very...
We'll try and look to see if we can find some spot to put a little playground in there. We can see, maybe we can work that deal out to leave part of that up there as a playground area.
Okay, and the last thing is, what does an unfinished attic mean? Someone brought up the thing, claiming that Westgate was building houses without only putting one parking spot, and they said that it was approved like 100 years ago. I noticed that they were putting in attics. So I went down to the municipal building and to find out what about these attics. The older houses do not have attics. The newer houses do have attics. And they said as long as they keep in the footprints of the thing, and they put in an unfinished attic, and they keep the attic unfinished, then they do not have to put in any more parking. The question is, what considers unfinished attic? Does an unfinished attic means that the attic is not painted? Unfinished attic means there's no walls, doesn't need no plumbing. Like, what does an unfinished attic mean?
It's the first time I've been asked that question. I'm going to have to find out for you. Mayor, are you aware? I mean, I know my attic is unfinished, it's just...
I would assume it means no living space. That's what I would assume.
I don't know that means you couldn't finish the wall, but I don't know. I can ask what it is in a planning standpoint.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
All right.
Mayor, this is the second time this issue's come up. I think we should check into it.
You want to check with Mike? Isaac, could you check with the inspection department and see what the...
My question for Mrs. Resnick is this, Mrs. Resnick, first of all, I apologize again for not getting back to you that other time, and I'll take credit for taking care of the issue for you. So now we... But I wasn't sure, I'm not sure I understood the whole thing, because Ray asked me if I could look into it for you. So what was the story with the house? You said that they got an approval by a board, and the board said that they could build...
In Westgate, they're building houses now with a one drive.
It's in the Westgate development itself?
In the Westgate development, in Westgate. In Westgate, and the older houses in Westgate do not have attics. The newer houses are now putting in attics. So I went to find, so I've been to the zoning board, and they're sitting there making big fusses over attic steps. And I know that they have walk-in attics, because I have been in some of the new houses, and you have a walk-in attic, you walk up the stairs. You don't have pull-down stairs, and then you have windows in the bathroom, you have upstairs. So they said that as long as it's considered sold as an unfinished attic. So what I want to know is, what do you mean? How do they have to sell unfinished attic? They said the people afterwards can finish it. That I understand.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to know.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Alice Kelsey, 295B, Malvern Court, East Lakewood, New Jersey. We've been getting a lot of publicity with the Asbury Park Press. As the joy of being retired is, I get my cup of coffee and I get my Asbury Park Press delivered to the back door and I read it. And I have found in the last week or two that I'd say, wait, I've got to look for the Lakewood article first. And some of those articles are really not complimentary to us. They're very subtle. They use other towns as an example, but you know that it's, they're holding the mirror up to Lakewood and the evil that's going to befall us if we don't learn to change our ways. And I also know that it's written on the door how things happen in a town. And one side of the door says push, and the other side of the door says pull. And somebody in every town is going to have push, and somebody else is going to have the pull to get it done. You can call it anything you want, whatever organization, but it's push and pull. And
What I would like to talk about today is, as an Irish Amish person, I'm going to speak for the Latino community who are not present, but they are people with real concerns here in Lakewood. And in Ocean County, demographically, the largest number of Latino people live in Lakewood. And I am still concerned that Eugene Espinoza does not have an office in which to help the Latino person. When the Puerto Rican Action Board pulled out of town, the town did step up through previous Mayor Miller, who's not here. Thank you to the chair. Mayor Miller did make sure that Eugene had an office, but he is what we would call in education a floater. He doesn't have a place to see people. And I think that is unacceptable in a town this size for a social service agency that is to be culturally sensitive to the Latino people. And I would like that to be addressed. And so I'll start at this meeting, and then I'll mention it at the next meeting and maybe the following meeting, because I know that you need to complain and refuse to accept consolation until the problem is solved. Well, I've been complaining for almost a year now, and I'm not consoled because the problem has never been solved. The Latino, Spanish-speaking people of Lakewood do not have a place where they can confidentially and sensitively handle their social service business with Eugene Espinoza. He is getting paid by steps, which doesn't make me happy, because I would like to see him be a township employee. I think that that would just be a better position for him to be in. The second thing is, not tonight, because you're running the clock down on me. I know it's going faster. Speed up that clock. I would like you to give consideration, again, on behalf of the Latino Spanish-speaking people, and in this day of, well, it's a day of mourning for me, and a day of mourning tomorrow, and a day of mourning the following day, although I do think Lakewood is a shining example of Republicans and Democrats getting along. And I think that that needs to be pointed out by the Asbury Park Press and the North Star Ledger, and let's take it all the way to Washington. Anyway, what I would like Lakewood to give consideration to, and I will mention it more the next time, is to becoming a welcoming city. We really wouldn't have to do anything, and I said, well, should I ask for a resolution or should I ask for an ordinance? Most of the cities in the United States that have become welcoming cities have done it through ordinance. So I think that I will probably next week or the week after that make a presentation on Lakewood Township becoming a welcoming city for the immigrants who I think are just about ready to get it. They're going to get it in the throat, they're going to get it in the head, they're going to get it. Mike Taibbi, who is a writer for the Rolling Stone magazine, he wrote a book that's called Insane Clown President. Thank you.
Oh, please. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Good evening.
Thank them for that reaction. It shows they're listening.
Good evening, Joe Leibowitz, 210 East County Line Road. I would like to speak about a different topic, County Line. Now's attention on Pine Street in that area. County Line Road, I know Menashe Miller in the previous meeting, not the previous, the last meeting of last year, he mentioned something to dualize County Line Road. Are you planning to make it County Line Road two lanes each way, or is it just like?
It's a county road, so we can ask them to do the improvements, but it's not within the township's authority.
What does it mean, dualizing County Road?
It means making it 2 lanes in each direction.
Who wants that? I mean, people live on the street.
Right.
You want to make it like a highway?
I don't know that it can be done, but there are a lot of improvements that need to be done, turning lanes, things like that.
Okay, turning lanes is more than welcome. Now, if you want to alleviate traffic on County Line, is there a reason why Kennedy Road is not open? I know the answer, but I want to have it on the record.
I think eventually it will be open.
The county vacated, and the county gave it over to the township.
Additional right-of-way, but the right-of-way that existed, I think the 50-foot right-of-way still exists. And as those lots get purchased and developed, that road will be extended out.
I'm talking from Squancum all the way to Brook Road.
Right.
There is 130 feet right-of-way. It's only, I would assume it's like 2 patches and then it's open between.
I think that part of that is going to be used as, from Brook Road standpoint, we're looking to use some of that as a extension of the park itself. while leaving the 50-foot right-of-way, so that if we did have to put that road through, we could, but not allowing the plans that were there 25, 30 years ago, where it would have been, 4 lanes with a concrete divider. That's been dead for a long
Okay, but
time.
just to make it a regular road, it's going to help the traffic on County Line.
I agree.
And does the road belong for the county or for the,
I'm not sure, Mayor, is Kennedy?
I'm talking from County Line, but Apple, that area, yeah.
Kennedy,
You know what I'm talking, yeah.
from Squonkam all the way down to Brook.
Yes.
It's a,
Township or county road?
it's a township road.
Okay,
Township road.
so we asked the state should do like the Route 9. The township has a road, and the township can help the traffic. I mean, how can you ask from the state something when the township is not doing their job? Okay, appreciate the answer, thank you.
All right, I think we're well past the hour, so you'll be our last speaker for the night, if that's okay.
Thank you. I'm really echoing,
Second to the last speaker, if that gentleman just stood up.
first of all, congratulations, Ray, on the appointment and the zoning board. I know there were many suggestions before, but Morty Gross is overly, I think overly qualified as well, so commend you on that. Really just echoing what Mrs. Shore was saying. I am from the greater Pine Street community, not necessarily Pine River Village. I do see that they have a very big representation here tonight, so I did want to echo her that it's a concern for the entire area. I just wanted to ask you on the traffic light on Cedar Bridge and American Way, what is the holdup with that? Is that a legal issue or is it a funding issue?
That's what I asked. Yeah, I think the county's designing that.
Yeah, they're working on it. When the county does it, it takes a little longer than local.
They said it's scheduled for this year.
Okay, I mean, I was saying if it's funding, I think we can, we can have a
it's
parliament meeting.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a county road, and it's a county light, and we asked for it a while ago, and it's coming in. I mean, the county's telling us.
Within the next few months.
Designing it.
Okay, amazing. I just think, it's a dangerous intersection. Secondly, I'm not in any zoning, field or anything like that, but if Cedar Bridge Development would give up a lane from Pine across, I think it would alleviate a lot of the stress that everybody's talking about. Now, Vine has DEP issues like we spoke tonight,
We mean this way.
going from Pine to Cedar Bridge. Essentially another American Way, another Vine Street. Let them give up a strip of land.
I think part of that, though, was the Seventh-day Adventist Church is actually there just before you hit New Hampshire. So they don't have all that property along the way, but it's something that we could look at with them.
I'm talking between Vine and American Way right now, that square where Tent City used to be. Just make another road.
It was actually one of the
Crossroad.
planning boards, one of the planning board members actually brought it up, and Katie, I guess we could stop the clock while I'm talking. One of the
I'm
planning
done,
board
it's fine.
members brought it up, and I believe there have been a lot of there's been a lot of conversation between Cedar Bridge Development Corporation and members of the various communities. And one of the things that was mentioned was that they may be willing to give up the property for one lane. So there's a lot up in the air, and that's one of the things that are up in the air. It was mentioned on the record at the planning board meeting.
Very good, so,
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
just so I understand. You're talking about a parallel road, like to Martin Luther, and a parallel road to the Blue Line?
correct.
That goes from Cedar Bridge?
To Pine.
Oh, no, so that's not what.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't-
To alleviate the Pine Street traffic that everybody's talking about, I think inevitably something's gonna go there. If it's not a shopping center, it's another office building. We're already building 15 of them. Some of them are by right. Nonetheless, we do need to alleviate it if they have the land and, there's negotiations. I just think it should be simple, I think. That's all.
We approach them about it.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Nechama Goldstein. I came last meeting, and I came to ask about crossing guards on Oak Street. And I hope I don't have to become like this lady here who comes every month or every whatever meeting, because I left my contact information. I never received any information. There are still no crossing guards on Oak Street,
Can I jump in?
which is
I
about.
apologize that you were not contacted. We spoke to the police chief the next day, and somebody should have gotten back to you. So please leave your contact information with the clerk, and Katie, please email me with that information, and I will speak to the police chief and make sure somebody gets back to you. I apologize. I really thought somebody got back to you, and actually, I thought we were going to try to post somebody there.
Yeah, no, because I go there to drive my kids there, and I see kids running across the street, and it's It's just very dangerous with all these schools there. It's really,
Well, can you just
Please give your
approach
photograph
Katie and
for-
give her your phone?
Our last speaker in the evening.
Good evening, my name is Aaron Hirsch, also a resident of Chestnut area in Lakewood. Two things I wanted to talk about. First thing is an analogy that I think of because of my line of work, I do property management. I understand when there is a problem, if there's a bunch of pipes in a building busted, first thing is you shut the water main down. Then you figure out, then you run pipe by pipe, and you will find way, and you will restructure the issue. I find a lot of things that we, obviously, I see you're taking the ball and running with it now, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate it, but really, we need to take a pause and really to figure out this whole thing, that's going on between the planning board and zoning. For instance, it's like people have mentioned earlier with regards to applications being complete. If someone's coming for a variance, he should come up on someone came up the other night for the planning board and started saying that he wanted to build, he wanted to rezone the lots, but he couldn't bring us specific plans. We need to know when someone's coming to rezone an area, relocate the property, the lines, we really need to know what his ultimate plan is, and that plan should be based on the planning, what is being approved. You can't just, okay, we got this changed, now what is the plan? You can't just like, okay, that should be a requirement, number one. Number two, why is an applicant, this township hires an attorney. Applicant hires a traffic study. Why is the applicant hiring a traffic study expert? The applicant should pay part of the fees should be a traffic expert. It should be anything over like, okay, I get 1 or 2 families now, maybe over 4 or 5 families, you need to hire a traffic expert. It's like as if we just told applicants, we don't need an attorney on the planning or zoning boards. You hire the attorney and we'll listen to what you have to say. The township never opposes their traffic expert because they don't have an expert up there. If they want, they can oppose the township's traffic expert, or there's an option, I've seen it on the township website by the planning board, that the township has a right to contact the traffic and safety division. I didn't ever hear that, especially like a place, for instance, I hear people are talking tonight about the Cedar Bridge. The township should be the one hiring a traffic. Of course, he's going to, I'm just giving as an example, not stating my point over there, but the point is that that traffic study is based on the applicant. It has nothing to do with the public interest, and the planning board is based on public interest. They need to decide the future, how this township runs, because once we make plans and we give everyone and we let them do whatever they want, you see what's happening. Eliminate paper streets. They do whatever they want, and then they wonder why it's traffic, because you have this. You could go into a community, like off of Route 9, all these neighborhoods. There's cul-de-sacs basically, and everyone's coming out that way. If you could make other streets behind them, it would alleviate a lot of the traffic, and that's what a planning board is. Plan the future of this city. This town. You have to plan. That's what the meaning of a planning board is. Now, with regards, yeah. So now that was my second point about the township needs to include in their fees a traffic study. Let the applicant object, if he wants to object to what their traffic study is and it'll be available in advance, he could hire his own. And I think that we need to think smartly. We have to do things in this. Yes, we want to give people that invested a right to utilize the properties that they invested in, but let's do it smart. Let's not. We have to answer. You guys have to answer to constituents. That's who voted for you guys, not any particular person that says, "Oh, I bought a property. I'm a builder. I'm this. I should be able to do just." It has to make sense for the future of this town. It's going to get worse. I don't know if you noticed, people are, on a side note, people are just sitting here enjoying it. You notice our boards are expanding into Toms River, Brick, Jackson. People cannot handle it. I want this town. I moved here. I like this town. I really like it. I live in Chestnut. It's a quiet neighborhood, and they're trying to throw up duplexes and at one point a triplex. Thank God that got denied. But basically everything I spent on a house over here, I need to go find another neighborhood? I'm in my second house already in the last few years. Why? I came here, I want to live in a nice place. And the people around here also, we have to do smart planning. Thank you so much, and good luck with your mayor.
We'll close the public portion.
Through the chair. I just wanted to address, I've spoken to many people my father-in-law, as everybody on the committee knows, lives in Pine River Village. And I've spoken to many people over the last few weeks. When I go to visit my in-laws, and I walk the streets there on Saturday afternoon, and a lot of people I made certain promises to some of the people. I told them that I will be involved and try to see what I can talk to Cedar Bridge about and what I can't talk to Cedar Bridge about. I've met them already once or twice to discuss the project. And I just wanted to make clear, as I've told people in private, that when we allowed retail, I didn't think that because some of the people brought it up, how did we allow shopping mall? When we allowed retail, and anyone on the committee could correct me, what was told to us was that that if there's a retail element, then it'll keep people from hitting Route 9. I didn't at the time. I didn't think that it would lead to a shopping mall. I don't think anybody else on the committee did either. But sometimes when we do ordinances, the fallout can be different than what we expected. There were questions about, some people asked questions about if notice was given, and I promised some people in the public, and I see some of the faces here, that I'll bring it up to our township attorney, which I didn't have the opportunity to do yet, but I'll bring it up to our township attorney because people were saying that no notice was supplied, and I told people that it could be that since it's a redevelopment zone, it may not have needed notices. I haven't had the opportunity to bring it up to our attorney yet, and people were saying that if there would have been notice provided, then they could have alerted us to more, which it's not always as simple as people think. But I will talk to our attorney, and we will see, and I will talk to Cedar Bridge, and I'll see if we could hold some, as some of the people mentioned, that some of the improvements should be made beforehand. I believe that Cedar Bridge told some of the residents that they agreed to make some of the improvements or to either to wait for improvement. Some Cedar Bridge development agreed to wait for some improvements to be made before they built.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Capital N-O.
Don't please,
No.
please don't call out.
No.
Please.
Not at all. I'm telling.
They snuck in under the gate.
Mayor, I think
Excuse
that
me,
there's
Mike.
already a meeting set up, isn't there?
Mike, hold on. What I'm saying is that I will try to speak to Cedar Bridge. Mr. Hertz mentioned that he's concerned that he's not going to get information or an agreement in time before the planning board meeting. I will try to arrange meetings and deal with it as liaison for the planning board to see if we could, if we could hold things off for the time being. I don't think Cedar Bridge waited 17 years. I don't think they'll mind another few weeks. So I'll be in touch with them. I can't promise anything, but I'll be in touch, and hopefully we'll be able to deliver something to you.
We appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who came back to talk to us tonight. At this point, we're going to go to the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody would like removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will, you don't have to remove it, I'm just going to abstain on 3 and 18.
3 and 18?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So made with an abstention on the vote of 3 and 18.
Moved by Mayor, second by Isaac. Roll.
Folks, I'm sorry, we'll be done in a few minutes if you want to talk to us, but we just can't.
Please take the conversations either out back or outside, please. We still need to get through the rest of the meeting. Thank you. Roll call, Katie.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes, with those two abstentions.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. There are no ordinances for second reading, so we'll start with the ordinances for first reading.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, adopting and updating Township Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual and creating the Department of Human Resources.
Do I have a motion?
So made.
Moved by Isaac.
I'll second.
Second by Mayor. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Abstain?
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Public hearing scheduled for February 9th, 2017 for the second reading.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you something? Can I jump in and get my 1 minute for the public discussion? I see Mr. Nicola here from Mazar Engineering. If the two of you guys, I'm sorry. We have 2 people here from Mazar Engineering. That's the firm that we've hired to talk about, to look at a lot of the traffic patterns in town. And I know some of you have concerns. If I could ask you guys not in here because it's so noisy, perhaps you can step outside and talk to some of the residents, listen to what their traffic concerns are, so you can get that for us. I'd appreciate it. If anybody wants to talk to them while we continue the meeting, they'll be waiting outside.
Thanks, Mayor. Not talking.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 9, taxi cabs of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Lakewood, specifically Section 9-8, meters and rates.
Do I have a motion?
So made.
Moved by Isaac,
Second.
second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Public hearing scheduled February 9th, 2017 for the second reading.
Ordinance of the Township of Lakewood, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 48:21-1 et sec, granting abatement to local property taxes to Casa Nova Today LLC for facilities located at Block 124, Lot 1, and authorizing the mayor and or his designee and the township clerk to execute any and all documents necessary and proper to enter into a tax abatement agreement.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mayor,
Second.
second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes, passes. Public hearing February 9th. Katie, please make sure the applicant is here to answer any questions for that for the next meeting,
Yes, sir.
please. Do you have a motion on the correspondence?
So moved.
Moved by Mayor,
I'll second.
second by Isaac. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion to approve the bill list of January 17th.
So made.
Second.
Moved by Mayor, second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Committeeman Ackerman.
Yes.
Committeeman Delia.
Yes.
Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Yes.
Mayor Coles.
Yes. Comments from committee members?
I think I spoke more than I should have.
Okay. Isaac?
Nothing at this time.
Mike?
Just want to say that I think I've made known that I'm annoyed with the planning board and zoning board and the way they conduct their business, and I'm glad to see the mayor's working on that. Any support you need, I'm glad we can.
Tom, Steve, anything for the record tonight?
You said it all.
All right, in that case, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So made.
Thank you, everybody. Get home safe. Thanks for coming out tonight.